Okay, picture this. It's one of those cold winter nights, right? The wind is just howling outside and you're all bundled up, feeling cozy inside. But then you walk past a window and you feel it, that little pocket of cold. And you just stop and think, why does it feel colder right here? We've all done it. You put your hand near the glass, trying to figure out this little household mystery. Is it just in your head, or is your house secretly battling the cold and maybe losing? Well, let's dig in, because if you've ever asked that question, you are definitely not alone. Every winter, homeowners everywhere kind of become these unofficial window detectives. We're all on the same case, trying to figure out what is going on with these drafts. So think of this as our official case file.
I bet these questions look pretty familiar, right? We all ask them. Is this a real problem with my house, or is this just, winter? The good news is, not every draft is what you think it is, but understanding the difference, that's where you start to get really comfortable.
So let's bring in our first big piece of evidence, and it comes from a little bit of science. It turns out that draft you're feeling might not actually be a draft at all. The key word here is cold convection, and what's wild is how simple this idea is. You've got your warm indoor air, the air you're paying good money to heat, and it floats over and touches the cold glass of your window. Instantly, that air cools down, gets heavier, and sinks. And that sinking column of cool air feels exactly like a draft from a leak, even if your window is sealed up tight. So telling these two apart is really the first step. A real draft means air is physically getting through a gap. That's a seal problem. But a felt draft from cold convection, that's just physics doing its thing. But what if there's another force making things worse? This is where the plot really thickens. For a lot of us, the real culprit isn't just the temperature outside, it's the wind itself.
I mean, if your home is in a really exposed spot, it's playing a whole different ballgame.
Do any of these sound like your house? If you're sitting up on a hill or you're facing a big open field or a lake, your home is getting hit with way more wind pressure than a house that's tucked away in a subdivision. And that constant pushing force changes everything for your windows. Just think about that for a second. A relentless, steady wind is literally pushing against your house all day, all night. It's looking for any little weak spot, constantly testing every single seal and every joint on your windows. And this is where the actual style of window you have becomes so incredibly important. And that brings us to our aha moment. Because if wind pressure is the villain of our story, we need a hero that's specifically designed to fight back. And that hero is a window that uses a compression seal. This is the genius of a casement window. See, instead of sliding up and down, it cranks outward. And when you close it, that crank mechanism pulls the window sash straight into the frame, really tight. It's kind of like shutting a bank vault door. That motion squeezes the weather stripping on all four sides, creating this amazingly tight seal.
And the payoff for that powerful seal? Well, you get one of the most energy-efficient windows on the market. For a home that's in a constant battle with the wind, that compression seal can make a world of difference, not just for your comfort, but for your heating bills too.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. A casement window, isn't that going to look too modern for my classic home? And you know what? That's a totally fair question. But let's take a look at the facts. Casement windows today are not what they used to be. You can customize pretty much everything, from grid patterns that look perfectly colonial to hardware finishes like oil-rubbed bronze that sit a classic farmhouse look. You absolutely do not have to give up your home's character to get that comfort. Okay, so we've investigated the mystery draft, we've identified wind pressure as a major culprit, and we've found a potential hero in the casement window. So now it's time to close the case. Is this the right solution for your home?
Here's the final checklist. If you're nodding your head to these points, if your house is on a hill, if one side of your house just gets hammered by the wind, or if you're just plain tired of that one room always being cold, then a casement window is something you should seriously look into. It's really about matching the window's design to how your home actually lives in its environment.
So really, the big takeaway here is that sometimes the answer isn't just more insulation or cranking up the thermostat. It's about choosing a smarter design that works with the elements, not just against them. Which really just leaves one last question, doesn't it? Isn't it time your home stopped arguing with the wind?